CFL Week 20. It is the betting blueprint. Andrew and Bobby here with you. We're not stopping, guys. We're going to keep bringing these CFL winners to you and these CFL videos to you. Bobby, it's always nice. Last week, no matter what number people got with the Alouettes, you cashed a ticket there. I was waiting for some actual some buyback at all, and that never happened. So I ended up getting a not so great number on the first half. That didn't matter. And if you had the full game as well, they won by 20. So not a bad week last week. How you doing? And any thoughts going into the closing part of the CFL season?
No, yeah, it was a good week. I stayed off a few things that I knew I should have stayed off of, and we'll get into that Ottawa a bit later. But it's a shame that was like a Monday afternoon, Monday morning for some people game. So, but yeah, lots of big numbers, and honestly, like I've never liked so many favorites than I do this week. I'm the ultimate square here, liking teams, not numbers.
Me and you were always talking about time zones. At least that game worked out well for us with the 2 p.m. game. That was a morning game for some people with that Montreal game, depending on where you were watching. Yeah, it is interesting. You know, the funny thing is, though, Bobby, you mentioned the word square. I'm curious to see if this ends up being the week that people that don't realize the situational spots and they're like, are you kidding me? Saskatchewan's getting 7 points. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump into it. First game on tap. 709, 710 rotation, 48.5 being the total. Opener was 5.5. That didn't last very long. Now we're seeing Winnipeg at home favorited by 7 points. I was on Gabe's podcast, Sports Rage, as he records the podcast now during the day, and he asked me about Winnipeg, and I was like, oh, gotta love that 5.5. The game's going to mean more to them, of course. And, you know, before I even went to do anything, I had shows lined up after that. Bang, the number was just gone. I shot you a quick text message about it. But sometimes, as you and I have been saying all summer, the numbers you see as the original openers, they're not really like the real openers because they just immediately get picked off right away. So would you agree that 7 is almost like the real number because that's pretty much what we have everywhere else now?
Um, I think seven's the real number if this was a full strength Saskatchewan team, but they just clinched the Western Final. So that means that they'll have a bye week to start the playoffs. It would be stupid to rest all their players next week. They'll probably throw them in for a half, but like this is the week where they're going to rest their players. Like I thought I posted that they should be doing this, and I don't know. I get Corey Mace. Compared to the other coaches in the league, I guess he's one of the best. But he's playing this one right. And to be fair to other coaches in the league, like Mike O'Shea would always do this. Rest his players 2 weeks before the end of the season, so they're not 2-3 weeks without any game time action, right? But honestly, like I think this line reflects a full strength Saskatchewan team, and the power standings. People like, how is the best team in the league a touchdown dog? Well, like look at their last two games. We mentioned 2 weeks ago when they barely beat Ottawa thanks to an AJ Ouellette tackle. And then last week they played a decimated Argos team. No Chad Kelly, obviously. No Nick Arbuckle. Nick Arbuckle, good quarterback. No Winton McManus. No top wide receiver. No banged up D-line. They had Jared Dagey at quarterback for the entire game, and he had the ball at the end of the game with a chance to tie it. And the reason he had a chance to tie it was because Corey Mace went for 2 up 8. Made no sense at all. And just got a contract extension. I don't want to say we've seen this before. Looking at Ottawa, I wouldn't tarnish his name by comparing him to the decisions that are being made there. But you can tell he's just guessing, and the fact that he's even guessing shows that he's a better coach than most coaches in this league, because he knows that in some cases a non-traditional decision needs to be made, and he just doesn't have it all perfected yet. But good for him for being open to it. The players are absolutely behind him too. He's a way better football coach than me. I think I'm still better at making third down and conversion decisions than him. So full strength, I think this number is accurate. But in addition to being overrated, the Riders are going to be starting Jake Mayer. Maybe this will be breaking news in 3 days. AJ Ouellette likely resting. Wide receivers, the backups are going to be going in. Honestly, the backup wide receivers in Saskatchewan are better than a lot of wide receivers on other teams. O-line, they're getting not even their backups because they're already using their backups because they're so banged up. They're getting their third string O-line is going to be starting this week. Defense stinks anyway, so who really cares about that? But like, I think this line should be double digits, and I'm surprised it didn't move overnight through the 7. I think this is a great number at 7. I've put a lot more down than I usually would. The last time I did something like that, it was the Argos in BC. So I think this line is way off. I think the actual number should be closer to 11. So any single digits on the Bombers, if you think you missed it, I don't think you have. I think this line's still going to move once they announce that most of their starters are out this week.
I mean, look at what happened to the Bombers last week, and look at what happened with the Riders over the past month, right? And this whole season. When you want to talk about power standings and you want to talk about recency bias, I texted you asking your thoughts on that Bombers Elks game, and I'm happy you gave me your thoughts because you saved me from losing a bet on that game. But again, that's 1 week. This one is, I shouted out Dave Koken on my hockey show today on Puck Time on Wager Talk, and I'm going to shout him out again because, he pretty much said, and obviously Dave was an encyclopedia of betting, and he could rattle off so much stuff in a heartbeat. But one thing he always said, Bobby, was when something doesn't make sense, you almost want to be on that side, right? When something doesn't really make sense, you almost want to be on that side. And at this one, oh my God, Winnipeg couldn't even beat Edmonton, and Saskatchewan had a good season. Now they're +7, right? If you think like that, you're almost like, okay, sign me up for Winnipeg here. But do you think the desperate spot is worthy enough for this point spread? You say you like the double-digit points for here. I just think this is more so the key spot. The key word is rest for me. Like, I think Saskatchewan's just getting ready for the playoffs in this one. And I know the home field hasn't mattered as much lately as it should have in the past for the Bombers, but part of me does feel a little bit better this is at home here for them. I like them. I might be looking at a team total for this one, but I think that the 5.5 would have been a good number. The 7 is, if you can avoid the 7.5, especially, it's good. But I'm more so interested in looking at a team total for the Blue Bombers here. It's one of those things where, and to your point that we were just talking about, I think that when you look at this Saskatchewan team, they've got decent backups, don't get me wrong. But what did we always say about Saskatchewan? They've been involved in a lot of close games, and those are with starters. So imagine without key starters, what this team is going to look like. Hopefully it's not much of a close game, right?
Yeah, and these are close games against the Ottawa Redblacks and Jarrett Daggy, Toronto Argonauts. So yeah, they've got a lot of the bounces going their way, but they're not going to take this game. Well, they're going to take it seriously. They'll all say they will, but with this many starters out, you can't. It's got to be double digits. Winnipeg's still playing for something. Honestly, I don't think they should be playing for anything. They should just take the crossover now because you got just as good of a shot of coming through that way than you do through the West. Probably easier because you got a little bye week playing Hamilton on your way up to the Grey Cup. So yeah, I think this number should shoot up. I think that in the CFL it doesn't make sense, but it does because they don't adjust the lines for injuries. They're way behind on this, and it's one of the few leagues. This is like the 70s and 80s in the NFL, where if you can get ahead of the injury news, you're laughing. You're not anymore in the NFL. It's impossible, but CFL, you can still do it.
We've crapped on the CFL for that before, but Bobby, I mean, without saying any bad things, because you know what, we do watch the CFL and support the league. Why do you think that writers are reporting this guy is not taking first team reps, and then the league tweets it out 2 days later? Like, is there any type of explanation we can try to come up with for that? Is it just because they're certain that a player is not?
The social media, the league are idiots. That's why. They're idiots that run the CFL social media. Well, the news has been out there for days from the local reporters, right?
Way to help our case for good standing with the CFL. Appreciate that.
I already got my credentials approved, so
yeah, you're going to the Grey Cup. I'm hoping to go next year. That's my game plan. Looks like I'm not going to be going to the big city of Winnipeg this year, but I'll cry every night until the Grey Cup, but maybe I'll go to the next one. And hopefully we can make some money with CFL to get me there as well, because you know what? This year has been up and down, but I'm really seeing things well the past few weeks. And speaking of which, guys, it's a good time to get a couple packages we have available at Wager Talk. At the end of the day, there's so many different available options right now. You can get 7 days for $77, or you can buy long-term. If you buy the entire year of 2026, you get 2025, the rest of the year for free. I'm up 20 units already in NHL. Of course, that's from a 1 to 5 unit scale, but NHL is going really well. And right now, if you buy the CFL, we're going to hook you up with some NFL as well. So just kind of reach out to me through Twitter, but there's all kinds of great deals going on at Wager Talk. And I'm going to bring up just this sheet just really quick here, because this one's really good. 90 days of the most action-packed sports. So there's so much stuff going on. NHL, NBA, college football, basketball, UFC, soccer. There's a bunch of stuff going on. A lot of stuff taking place here. And when you look at some of these deals we have going on right now, the long-term savings are where it goes. Guys, $35 for one 5% play. You guys shouldn't be paying $35 for one play. That cuts into your bet you're making on that play. You're much better off joining long-term. So, hey, if you want to go to some games, make some money by betting on some CFL, will help get you some of those big games. But Bobby, I'm with you on this Winnipeg team. This is a team that I like, and I want to avoid getting the 7.5. So if you guys like Winnipeg with us, get the 7, avoid the 7.5. Edmonton, BC. I'll be quick with this one, Bobby, because I've been saying this for a while here, that being contrarian as far as some of these big totals hasn't really been a good idea. And I'm done trying to do so. When I look at these two teams, and especially when I take a look at this Lions team with the offensive production they've had over the last month and what the Elks have been able to do, and, you know, although it's not been a good year for them again, probably should have started a different quarterback to start the year off, they've still been involved in some fun games. So, look, I'm going to sit back and say, Bobby, no more contrarian for me on these totals. Give me the over. Highest total on the board for week 20, over 56.5. I mean, try and argue that, guys, because anybody that's betting overs in the CFL has been having a field day. I mean, God, I can't believe I took under in that Argos Ticats game when the entire world could have just told you the over was the play. So much for being a bit of a contrarian, Bobby. Give me the over, 56.5, highest total on the board. That's my rant for you.
Yeah, and I don't really... Yeah, well, fair enough. When you get torched on that Hamilton-Toronto under, they almost scored 100 points, right? So, like Edmonton, like you mentioned this, like Edmonton, yeah. Hey, you're not winning them all. You're not like most on social media, right? So, Edmonton, like, still hanging in there, like you mentioned, but like this is absolutely embarrassing for them. It's probably a bad thing that they're still hanging in there. And to be fair to Mark Killam, it was probably a condition of his employment that he had to start his career with 4 or 5 losses in a row with Trey Ford at quarterback. This season was over in week 1 when they started Trey Ford, gave him his first opportunity, yanked him as early as they could. They did well there before the end of July. But you've got, like you said, they've been playing entertaining games. They've been getting some bad bounces, and these bad bounces hurt a lot more when you threw away your first 4 or 5 games of the season. So, Lions, like, off a bye here, plenty of play for themselves. It looks like they're going to be, I think they could win out and host the Western semifinal. I kind of like where this line is right now, so I'm not touching it. I'll see if it moves, but honestly, like, nothing's moving anymore on game day. Everybody down south is putting all their money in college and NFL, so these lines are only usually moving when it's people like us picking them off early in the week, and there's no interest from me on this one. So I think this line is right where it should be, and just had to get a little one last Trey Ford rant in there.
One last
good
dig.
Backup quarterback.
One last dig there, Adam. I don't blame you. It's all good. Give me the over. Let's see some points. I'd love to know, Bobby, long term this season, how it's done every single week. Highest total on the board going over. Really would want. I'd love to have that data. I really would. Love to know what these numbers are like here. Montreal, Ottawa. It's like, how can you host a funeral and then have a funeral again the next week? I mean, they're already dead. You can't have a funeral twice. It's already over. That's what I feel like we're getting here for this Ottawa Redblacks team. The bookmakers are just like sitting in the office, like, what do we put here for the line? Like, what line can we put to get Ottawa? I mean, if you're someone that cares about bet splits, and I know that very few people probably care about that when they bet CFL, Bobby, how many people are betting on the Ottawa Redblacks this week? Like, who was waking up and wanting to bet on them? So I guess my question to you is this, because you're always good with your numbers here. When they put up this number here, what were they trying to achieve? Because I'm seeing 8.5 at every single book. What would they have had to even put for you to have any interest in Ottawa? Because I'm guessing it's a pretty big number, right?
Yeah, and last week I said like 17, maybe it'll get me interested, and like thank God it didn't get there. But like this Red Blacks team, it's another complete disaster for them. And this time not just on the field. I mentioned I was hoping that all the CFL media saying, "Oh, we got to give Dustin Crum a fair shot here. Give him a chance to start." I was hoping they would tune in to his 20th career start in the CFL, and unfortunately, it was at like 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. It was a Monday afternoon game out east, and honestly, when it was on, it made me like it almost looked like those Monday morning CFL replays that you see on TSN. You wouldn't even know if it was live or not, right? Um, so it didn't look like many people would have been covering it. It was pretty quiet online. I couldn't even find the Red Blacks post game show, which I'm always tuning into. Um, and like those who watch the Red Blacks, those who cover the team, like they're tired of it too. I posted an article, audio of AJ Jakovic, the play-by-play guy, just begging like, you have to start Tyree Adams. Like, what are we doing here with Trey Ford, Dustin Crum? same thing. Uh, like, and then after the game, he asked Bob Dice any thought like he worded it so easily, like so delicate with a question. Any thought of considering starting Tyree Adams next week in your next mean nothing game? And just nothing from Bob Dice. Said he didn't even think about it. Which, to be fair, he has made decisions based on what media members have asked him at halftime interviews. And I think there's a 50-50 shot that we do see Tyree Adams this week. We won't know until tomorrow, as like Roar Report always reminds me online. You can't practice until the third day after a game. But like this team is so bad. And sorry to tell the media that's been wondering, hyping Dustin Crum for the last 3 years. Like if it goes to Tyree Adams, I don't even know if it's much of a downgrade. But still, like there's nothing. There's no number that's going to make me comfortable taking the Red Blacks, even at home, right? You could get to double digit home dog here. And normally that's an auto bet, and it's not, because the Red Blacks, as Ian Cameron says, are unbettable right now. It's Montreal or nothing. I think you tease this number down with the Winnipeg. There's a few books like Pinnacle gives you 6-point teasers at even money, which is great. So you can tease this one down below the 3. Otherwise, like I don't think this number is getting any lower. And if Tyree Adams is named, it might bump up a bit, but you've got to be, I don't know, got to be close to 2 touchdowns before I have any interest. And even if I do have interest, it's half interest for this half serious team.
Yeah, and one thing about this Alouettes team is that they keep their foot on the gas pedal. Like they're not really a team to take their foot off the gas and to run the ball out and lose focus. They seem to be a team that's really good at keeping that focus there for the full entire game. And if that's the case, their Red Blacks aren't going to cover any point spreads below double digits. That's for sure. So only one way to look in that. Yeah, if you can find a good teaser number worthy of looking at. I had this up earlier. I can't remember the number here. If you have any interest at all in doing a money line parlay versus the teaser, you're in tough, because it's like minus 160 or 155 depending on where you shop. So you're better off trying to find that teaser if you can, but you want to make sure you're getting the right numbers possible. I've got nothing really in the Argos and Stamps game. All I know is that you and I have been kind of riding the Argos as dogs, Bobby, and asking them to hang around in games. A lot of it due to their coaching. So immediate thoughts on this line would be, I am interested in the dog here, but I don't know if I'm going to get to the window with it.
Yeah, and it's Toronto's last game of the year too. They've got the bye next week, and Dinwiddie has said he wants to get a look at Tucker Horn and maybe even Max Duggan. These just sound like fake names, but they're real quarterbacks for the Argos at this point in the season. Like they got their look at Jarrett Deggy last week. I thought we were laughing with it over 225 passing yards, and the Argos accepted a penalty that would have put him over. And then he threw a game-ending interception at the end of the game there too. So two
Brutal.
chances to kill my should have been a rocking chair over. It wasn't. So that's just my little.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the team that in underdog situations, I want them. They're getting 9.5. We'll see if it ends up being worth it come game day. We'll see how much the Stamps want this game. But like he's mentioned, maybe the Argos are a team that go out on top for ATS bettors. They've been there for us all year, ATS wise, just not as much straight up wise. So we'll see. Make sure you follow Bobby on X at Mr. Surrey Jack with updates and stuff like that. And obviously the occasional joke at the CFL and the marketing team. But we can always hope to cash some tickets. So, guys, appreciate you all sticking with us here on the CFL Betting Blueprint. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button and buckle up. It's almost playoff time, and CFL playoffs are always a good time, especially to make some money and to capitalize on what we think are some soft betting lines. Look forward to it, guys. We'll see you next time right here at CFL Betting Blueprint.